Good morning, everyone.
Hi.
Good morning, Janice.
Good morning, Katie.
All righty. Hey, it's Kate Richburg and Janice Parsons live from beadshop.com.
Yes.
If it's live, it must be Wednesday.
It is, yes.
And it's our last Facebook Live broadcast of the year.
It is? Oh,
It
that's
is.
right. This weekend is the new year.
Yeah, 2017's
Oh,
coming,
I
Janice,
know,
whether you
I
like it or
know,
not.
I know.
I know, it's crazy.
I
Yeah.
know, I'm getting closer to the big 7-0 in a few years.
Not that close.
So 2017.
Well,
It's okay.
It's getting a little closer.
Did you have a nice holiday?
I did. How about you?
It was great. It was a little cold, but I was lucky it wasn't snowing. I was back in Virginia.
Yeah, you spent it with your family,
and I
which
got
was real
this
nice.
lovely cuddly
It is
scarf
a cuddly scarf
from
It's real
Ashley.
pretty.
Yes, she brought it
Yes.
back from Spain.
Oh, I got pajamas.
Oh, well, that's nice.
They were really snuggly.
Oh,
From my mom.
Oh.
Hi, Ma. Hopefully she's watching. Hi,
Yeah.
everyone.
Hi everyone out there.
And you guys will be glad to know, I mean, last week, Brendan did a great job on our Facebook Live
Yeah.
filming. But
did.
Gracie's back behind the camera.
Yes.
So we've got our Grace back.
Yes.
So it's
All
good.
healthy and
Yes. We're
wealthy and wise.
Yes, that's
Yes.
right. So we hope everyone had a great holiday season.
Have you started on your resolutions?
You know, I have.
Oh, you have?
Actually, yeah.
Is there anything you want to share with everybody?
Well, maybe.
Are you ready to
Yeah,
share?
I'm ready to share. I am thinking the word for 2017 is, or my attitude for 2017 is thankfulness and being grateful to be kind of, you know, we're super lucky. And,
We are.
And so I just want to acknowledge it and put that out in the world. And
I think-
share.
Is that the theme for the ball that's going to drop from Times Square?
Oh, I don't know.
I think so.
Oh.
Gratefulness or inclusiveness or something
Yeah.
like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
2017, patience, kindness,
Gratitude.
gratitude, and love.
And
Amen.
sharing creativity.
Yes, and
That's
share.
right.
Yes, yes,
Which
absolutely.
is what we do here. So that's what we've got.
So what are we working on today?
So you guys, we've got a couple of things we want to share with you. So first of all, Janice, you're wearing a necklace. We're both wearing.
Yes.
We promised that we would wear some necklaces. I know last week you guys saw us do some macrame stuff with the semi-precious stones.
Yes.
So this is the piece that I was talking about, and I've also posted it on the beadshop.com Facebook page. And you guys know that you can find everything related to our Facebook Live broadcasts at our beadshop.com. But Grace, I'm going to throw it right here in the center so you can come right up on it. This was
so pretty.
my own little take on kind of our Born Yesterday project. And this is our called pie serpentine piece, along with our cranberry serpentine. These are 10 millimeters. And a little bit of our Cameroon and our swirl button.
Right.
And I was pretty pleased with it.
And you used what you used?
I used regular Ceylon.
Regular Ceylon, and
Yeah, because
what
it was a
color
little
did you
heavy.
use? Do you remember?
You
Is
know,
it golden
gold.
olive.
I think
gold?
I used the gold.
It's really pretty. I love the way you've set off
Yeah.
colors that wouldn't normally. I wouldn't necessarily put this cranberry with the olive, and yet it's festive, but it's not overtly.
Yeah.
You know, red and green. It's
Right.
just really lovely, and
Thank
you
you.
could wear it all year.
All year. And I think what I'm going to do with some of the techniques, you guys, that we're going to share with you today, Janice has given me a little idea about maybe putting a tassel on this piece. So this
Yeah.
piece may evolve. We'll see.
Yeah,
It may
yeah.
evolve next week. You never
Might
know
even
what's
get
gonna
some
happen.
wire wrapping.
Maybe. And so let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do for 2017
Yes.
before we jump in. So we just got in, you guys. So let me tell you. So a couple weeks ago, Janice and I had a fight. We've gotten some earring findings in. It wasn't a bad fight.
No, we kissed and made up.
We did.
We did.
Um,
Everyone
but-
should know that.
Right.
We're huggy.
And we're huggy. It is so true. But we're getting some stuff in to do earrings and wire work and stuff like that. And I said, well, Janice, we need to be able to hammer, right?
Yeah.
And Janice
what did I say?
said, well, I use a household hammer on a breadboard. And I went, Kate Richburg, wire queen, is not going to hammer with a household hammer on a breadboard. So, yeah, you know what? No. So we have some new, they're just sitting like actually
Yes.
right over there. We've
Should I
got some
go
new
grab
tools. Do you want to grab? Do
Yeah.
you want to just grab it just
I'll
for
just-
fun?
yeah.
Your mom says hi to interrupt really quick.
Oh,
We got a
there's
bunch
my
of
mom.
hellos.
Hi, hello everybody. It's great to have you here with us. Well, for 2017, you guys, and these aren't up on the website yet, but they're going to be up really, really soon. We've
We're
got
going
a
to hammer wire.
We are. We're going to do
Right.
some hammering. We've got a chasing hammer. We've got a bench block. We've got some new wire coming in. And so at the beginning of the year, you're going to see some great earring projects, some freeform, some wire working stuff. So it's going to be great. So we've got some of that
I really love laddering. I love bracelets. But it's really time for us to, and it goes back to many of our roots at the shop,
Yeah.
where we did all kinds of chandelier
Chandelier
earrings,
earrings, all kinds of
beautiful-
great
yeah,
wire wrapping.
work. So with you coming back,
Yeah.
I think it's the perfect
Yeah, the
time
perfect
to
time.
share your skills and knowledge. Do you want to just mention a little bit about what you're going to be teaching in Tucson? Now's a good time.
Yeah. So I have a couple of classes, as you guys have maybe heard from previous broadcasts. At the Tucson Gem Shows, they're happening in the very end of January and early February 2017, next year. I teach at the Jogs show, Jogs, Jogs. And if you go to the Jogs website, I think it's jogs.com, or you can Google Jogs Tucson, you'll see a link for classes. And there's a whole bunch of instructors that come from all over the country. Really accomplished stringing instructors, metalworking instructors. A lot of my buddies in the teaching world will be there. But I'm teaching 4 different classes. Some metalworking techniques. I'm teaching a ring making class, so it's really fun. So you'll see all of my things there. They are filling up, so if you are going to Tucson, book your classes soon, because they are filling up pretty quickly, but which is great. And so we're going to be doing some live broadcasting, our Facebook Live from Tucson. So if you guys have never been to the Tucson Gem Shows, it'll be a good peek into what happens there. So it'll be fun. And Gracie's going to be tagging along a little bit with me, so it'll be a good time.
Very exciting.
So
A lot of people are excited for these new tools. We got a lot of comments about the hammers and being excited for them. And Robin even says getting hammered with beadshop.com.
That's right. That is so true. You never know what we're going to do. Maybe it'll be a late night broadcast.
Well, maybe we could do
After 5.
we could do a side-by-side hammer show.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a household hammer doesn't work as well, but I have done some things with hammers and leather and tacks and nails because I didn't have the right tools.
Well, and found object work is great.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
I found it in my junk drawer.
Yeah, exactly. Found. And I wanted to tell you guys one more thing. Janice is wearing, I don't know, maybe you can take it off a little bit later so people can see it.
Yeah.
But she's wearing a bead that I made years and years ago. But some of you know about, this is one of the biggest bead shows in the country, and it happens in June. It's the Bead and Button show. And Bead and Button happens in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and registration opens on January 3rd. But I do have 2 great days of classes, 2 of my metal samplers. And you can see there's so many fantastic classes from instructors from all over the globe. So it's always great to be included on their faculty. So if you go to,
honor.
it really is. And if you go to beadshop.com, beadandbutton.com, and you click on the Bead and Button show, and you can see it's actually beadandbuttonshow.com here, and registration opens on January 3rd, but the classes are open for browsing, so you can check that out. And this is a piece that Janice is wearing. This is a piece I made years ago, one of my fold-over beads. This is precious metal clay, and PMC is something I started teaching years ago at the bead shop, and it was a very popular class for us. But it was kind of a cool thing. So I'm great. I'm really stoked that you have that still.
I know. I treasure it.
It's a great thing.
I really love that
That
bead.
was fun.
And I like using the polishing cloths to clean it.
Right, Pro Polish pads. My mom was just asking about Pro Polish pads. She said while we were sitting around at Christmas dinner, she goes, "Kate, do you have any Pro Polish pads?" And I said, "Oh, I don't have any here, but I'll send you some. I'll send you some. I promise." But they're great for polishing
Hi,
everything.
Gwenny.
There she is. All right, so
Okay.
let's get this show on the road. We have a lot of stuff to
We
share with
do.
you today.
We're going old school.
We are way back to our roots.
Back old school. To our roots.
Just, I wanted to point out, you guys, just so you know, and a lot of you know this already, but we're here on the home page. I don't know, Gracie, if we can see this on my computer, but everything from this broadcast, you guys, this is our home page here at beadshop.com. We just click on the Facebook Live button, and our latest tricks to wax linen, the broadcast we're doing as we speak. You can see we've got a great kit that we're going to be talking about, and then we also have links to everything else that we're using. So remember, these are the places for you to go to get all of the information about the broadcast. And of course, you can watch it later. If you're not watching us live right now, you can watch it here on our website at beadshop.com. Gracie, quick question.
We sell these Pro Polish pads, don't we?
We do. We do. They're on the website. You can find us here at beadshop.com. On our Facebook page, there's the link to the broadcast, as well as on our YouTube channel. And give our YouTube channel a follow, you guys. There's lots of learning on there.
Lots and lots.
Lots and lots.
Oh, thanks, Gita. She
All right. Gita, as always, thank you, Gita. You're fast on that share button. And we always wanted to thank you guys. So many of you share this broadcast and comment on this broadcast and share the learning around the world. So we're very, very grateful for that. So thank you so much. So let's talk a little bit about the history of this project now, or of this thread.
Okay.
Now, wax linen, Janice, is something that you've been stringing on forever.
Yes.
And something...
It was one of the first threads when my mother had the old antique shop.
Antiques, etc.
Antiques, etc.
In Palo Alto, California, all those years ago.
One of the first and only things that I learned to string on was wax linen. Wow. And I wanted to just start off. It's normally from Ireland. It is linen. It does have natural beeswax linen on it.
The coating.
The coating. It's very difficult to get. It used to be so easy. And now it isn't, but
and it comes in some different plies. It looks like. Gracie, I don't know if you can get right up on here.
This is the 2-ply, and I've untwisted it so you can see. And then it also comes in a 3-ply, and it's a bit sticky because it's got the beeswax on it, and it also comes in a 4-ply.
And this was the original. I remember we used this 4-ply. And you know, something just came back to me. I remember we would string with this, we would unply it, string like little seed beads on the individual plies, and then knot it
bring
back.
It back together and stick it.
I remember that.
Yes.
It just hit me.
Yes, and it also is available in a 7-ply, which is, we don't even carry because it's so heavy. The 4-ply is the one that is really the most popular. And we have projects where when Brittany did Cross Cultures originally, we only had the 4-ply, and so to get the holes of the little beads through, she actually untwisted the 4-ply and used it as 2-ply. And since then we've started carrying the 2-ply and the 3-ply.
Yeah, so kind of like, you know, if any of you embroider, like embroidery floss, when you take your embroidery floss apart, you would just make your little, you know, you'd cut your length and then you just strip it out this way. And then you can, since it's waxed, the cool thing about wax linen is if you just pull it together like this between your fingers, it stiffens back up. And one of the things with wax linen, we never use needles with wax linen, or very rarely, very rarely. But it's great. It's really, really versatile. So if you have a 4-ply and you just need the 2, you would just cut it apart. And and you can re-wax it with your beeswax right here, even to get a little more.
And one of the reasons we don't use a needle is because we usually use tribal ethnic beads, which have good size holes. I wouldn't say string freshwater pearls on wax linen. They don't talk to each other. You want the beads that talk to wax linen are ethnic, they're tribal.
Yeah, like we have those, those guys over here. Our Biashara is great for it. And so one of the things that you could do, like we were talking about earlier, is you can pull all these together, these strands back together. And you could just string, I'm going to string one of these Biashara on and one of these vertebra, these snake beads, and
then here's some
you know how I
hishi.
feel about hishi.
I know.
It's an essential.
Linty hishi.
That's right.
It's
that's
from
how
the
it
cotton
comes.
string. Yeah.
And so see how you can just get that little hishi right on there because it's nice and stiff. And then you could, if you wanted to break it out, you could, you know, put these guys on, and here's a little white heart and one of those little.
Do you know why they're called white hearts?
Why is that?
Because when they are made on canes, the center of the bead,
Is the interior.
the cane is white, and so that's how it got its names. And usually it's with a coating of red, but you could have white hearts with blue. You could have them with yellow or green. The reds are the ones that are treasured the most because they're getting harder and harder to get, especially the cranberry.
So see, you can just kind of go along.
Yeah.
And see, you could have things that open up or come in tight or anything like that. So it's super versatile.
Right.
Now you made this. Now I remember before I came back on board at beadshop.com, I saw this across cultures. You released this, and I thought I was going to lose my mind.
Really?
This project,
it's fun.
So speaks to me. It's really a great way to use wax linen.
Well, you build it, you know, as you go. You don't think through too much. You just string, and this section here is actually a long strand that's
like doubled over, right?
Right. It's on wax linen, and it's actually, I think we tripled it so that it's long, and then it's right, and then this part is done separately, and then you link through there. So,
and the handouts under our projects, you guys, under Across Cultures, it's a really good one, especially if you have a variety of kind of beads that have big holes, or tribal beads, or we have Janice, over there, if you want to grab those, the Padre beads are kind of amazing with this, and so that's what Janice that's what Janice used there.
I love Padres.
Yeah. So this really is this project was kind of a real throwback to the beginning of kind of bead shop stringing. It's one of the first things, one of the very first classes that I took at Bead Shop back in '92 when I came on board was we used to do a necklace that was kind of like, it was kind of like Across Cultures, but it was a big one, remember? And it was all strung on wax linen, and we did the silk wrap at the end and stuff like that. So this was a string material that I was introduced to pretty early on. So let's talk a little bit about this project itself, and let's get this ball rolling.
Okay. Well, before we start, a woman, Karen, she actually said she loves wax linen, and that she uses it for many beaded projects and for crocheted beaded necklaces.
Oh, yeah, crochet.
And Jill from the UK would like to wish you both a Happy New Year and hope that 2017 is great for both of you. And we've had so many hellos from everyone.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much.
That's
Jill,
great.
Yes.
Yeah,
great.
we're excited about this new partnership and Facebook Live. It's really fun.
Yeah.
We say it's the best part of the week.
It is the best part of the week.
It is the best part of the week.
Yeah.
And you're talking, I'm hearing these noises about maybe at some point doing a retreat.
Yeah, it's true.
A party, a bead party.
So we're thinking in 2017, there's a great retreat center that's not far from us, and one of our customers planted the seed in our brains.
Yes.
So we'll see what's going to happen.
Maybe we can get everybody together.
It would be really great.
Although I would like to do it in London or Paris.
Well, of course you would, but let's start.
Maybe nearby.
Let's start a little nearer at home, and then we'll expand.
Okay.
I mean, you know.
So what is the project we're doing today?
So we're doing Odyssey. So something that you talked about, Janice, about how you conceived of this project was that it's really an Odyssey.
It is. It's you start on a path, you start traveling, and you don't really know where it's going to take you, but you don't really have to worry because the linen does all of the work. it takes you wherever you want to go. So when I first did this project, all I started with was, okay, I'm going to start with some lengths of wax linen.
And this is the kit, the Desert Sunset kit that we put together special for this broadcast. And so everything that you see here that Janice is working with comes in the kit.
Right.
So, right. So you just started by, and in the PDF handout, you guys, you can go to the PDF handout and download it or look through it. It talks about how you would figure out the lengths to cut for the piece, but you've already cut some lengths, and how did you determine those lengths?
It's really high math. I just
kind of did that, yeah,
and then I fold them in half,
right,
and then I put it on my wrist like this. I go boom, 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 boom,
right,
and I go, oh, that
looks about right.
That's
all right.
Literally that is what I do. And then when I create the project, then I go, okay, cut it this length, cut it that way. But this is what I do.
That's a start.
The beauty of wax linen is that it can be bare.
Right.
It doesn't have to be covered in beads because it's strong enough. It's coated. It's linen. It will do some stretching because it's a natural fiber. It is linen. But if you are doing it in shorter sections, then it's not going to stretch that much. So when we were doing treasure necklaces and it was heavy beads and wrapping, we'd also do smaller sections, bring them together,
so they would support.
So it was sort of like a bridge where the cables would support each other. So to start this project, okay, I cut, I don't know, they're, well, how
like
long?
A wingspan, like we were talking about a wingspan, so kind of
and then,
that length.
Okay, and then you fold them in half, and then that, for this particular one, if I wanted to add more, I could. This is now 8 strands, right? 2, 4, 5. No, this is 10. Okay, so now I have a 10 strand. You want to get them pretty much all the same length. But then you can start building it with your button loop, and then you can build it however you want. And so we can talk now about
how we kind
build
of
it.
get it started, and then you can kind of get settled over here, and we can show you how this one will go together. So Gracie, come on around. It looks like
Just
you have a question.
Quick question.
Sure.
Katie asks if the dye fades over time on the linen.
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I've never had it fade.
Yeah, I never had it fade. Now I wouldn't necessarily
like keep
stand by that if if you were macrameing a potted plant or something and putting it in direct sunlight, it won't even hold up to all that water and sunlight. But in general, I've never in all my years seen
had it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Had it fade. So come on around, Grace. Let's take a look. And I have a few little step outs here, you guys, so you can kind of see how this starts. Again, it's illustrated pretty well in our handout. I'm just going to move these down a little bit so we've got some room. So just like we did last week when we were starting our semi-precious macrame, semi-precious macrame and stones, I've started just doing my little button loop here. Now, I've macrameed using the fine Ceylon, and again, I cut, I don't know, maybe a little more than a yard, about a yard maybe. And I find the center of, and these are shorter, but I find the center of my wax linen, just like Janice was doing here, like that loop there.
That's the center.
That's the center. And what I actually did was, to make sure that I remembered it was the center, I got my Sharpie marker and I made a little dot right on the linen. And it was, it's going to live under there. It's going to be covered.
See it.
Yeah, so I made a little dot. So then when I came in and I connected this to my board and I used my binder clips here. You could also use a macrame board for this, you guys. I'm going to actually pull it down just a little bit. And then I secured my little roll underneath there. You know, when I was thinking about something like this, you could get little short lengths of PVC pipe
You could even use a medicine bottle.
Yeah, a medicine bottle, anything like that will work.
And if you don't want to use fine weight Ceylon, you could also use like number 2 tough cord would be very similar in size.
And you could use really fine Chinese knotting cord too, you think? Or would that be a little thick for this?
It would be a little bit heavy, a little heavy, but it would be interesting. Yeah.
So you can see I've done for this button, it takes about 1.5 inches of macrame. And just to remind you, our macrame stitch, our Q, we make our Q, bring our thread underneath, tighten it up. I feel like I've been doing macrame non-stop since last week, so my fingers are a little more nimble.
Yeah,
we do the P side there. So you can see I've just done that whole thing. So now once I've done that, I'm going to bring my strands together, and I can always check. I want to check it here just to make sure that my button's going to slide through, and it does. So once we've done that, we'll come over here and we'll look at this one. I've attached, just using, I actually did a little piece of the cord here, this cotton cord, and I just brought it through, and I did a little lark's head knot like this, right? So I didn't even tie it on, so I can reuse this thread. Not that this thread is very dear, but you know, it's easy to just always have that in your little work box. And then I'll clip it here. And then, now there's a lot of different things that you could do at this point to secure it. I could come in, see with these tails that I have here, I could bring this together and I could continue to macrame. But you know, I like to shake things up. So I used one of our big Pony Express, that's what these are, right Janice? Pony Express beads. And when I brought all of my ends together, see this wax linen, this is what I love about it so much. All of my strands, see how I can bunch them up, and see this Pony Express, the hole is so big, I can just coax everything right through there, just like that. And so I slid it all the way up, and I had my little Ceylon threads underneath there as well. So I use that as kind of a bead.
Looks so
to bring it all together. I think it looks nice.
Really nice, yeah.
And so then I started just to macrame, and you can see with this guy how I've just done a short little bit of macrame here, maybe 4 macrame stitches, and then I'm ready to start adding my beads. And I used this little mix here of just we've got some little shadows, we've got some brass heishi, one of my very favorite beads in the whole wide world, and all of these cubes. But the beauty of this is you could use any beads that you had. We, with this Odyssey project, we use a lot of beads, or a lot of cubes. Like this one here, the recipe calls for just 1 tube of the cube beads and nothing else. So you can make yourself a mix like this or do something simple like this. It doesn't really matter. And so then I just start, I'm going to leave these tails out and I'll deal with them later. I could knot them, and Janice is going to show you on her piece how we have these knotted closed. But I could also use these as little tassels, so I don't want to get rid of those quite yet. But when I start, I'm just going to pull out one of my threads. Now I go heavy on my beads, and you can see this one here from this Odyssey project, how really spaced all of the beads are, so there's a lot of air in between them. I have a tendency, I like to shove my beads all together, so my pieces have a little less air. But Janice is going to show you some of her techniques about how she kind of mixes that up in a minute. Now the knot I used, see, I just tied that knot just so fast I didn't even show you. The knot that I tie is kind of like our pearl knot. It's an overhand knot. So like the first knot that you use, like the end of your sewing thread, when you're tying the end of your sewing thread when you're going to sew something. I make a loop, I grab that loop, and I just pass the end through. And the beauty of it is you can just let that knot live. Now, Janice, do you ever double knot it?
You can if you have a bead with a really larger size hole. You can also do a section that's just knots.
I could double knot that through.
Yeah, and you could just say, okay, I want just a section of knots.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons I call this Odyssey is because I let each strand inform the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So I string until I don't know what to put on next. And then I stop.
And you change lanes.
And then I start another strand, and I allow what I have there to tell me where I want the knot on the next one, where I want to put another bead.
May I have you had some tweezers there just a second
did.
ago.
I don't-
What happened? Oh, there they are. I'm going to reach right over.
Okay.
So you can help with your knotting tweezers. You can kind of coax that knot, slide that knot around. I'm going to let it sit right there.
Not so easy on the wax linen.
Not as
on
much, but
other thread,
it's helpful.
Yeah.
I'm going to put on a cube, and then we just let things float.
Right.
So I'm just going to, I'm not even paying attention to where I'm putting this knot, really. And my knotting tweezers can kind of help me kind of place that knot a little bit. And so this design would have a little more air to it if I made the lengths between my knots.
But then you might, with your next strand over here, you could add many more beads on it.
Mm-hmm.
The human eye does not see on this design what bead is on what strand.
Right, it doesn't. It all kind
so
of mixes.
you don't have to worry about it.
So here, see, I could do this, and then I'll come in, and maybe I'll just tie a knot up here. Because at this point, yeah, I'm like, well, I don't really know what to put on next, so I'm going to move over.
It's already getting a personality.
Right?
Do you see how these knots are really making it really interesting?
And see with a bead that has a small hole like that, can you see that, you guys? Sometimes what I do is I'll really just tell my thread I'm the boss, and I'll get the thread snips, those Xuron scissors. Sometimes I also, this is kind of blunt, but what you can also do is clip it. See that angle? That's a nice trick that I do a lot of. And then I just, see how it just falls? Yeah, I could wax it, and that bead just goes, oh, I'm home on the wax linen.
Debbie asks, there's no set design or spacing for the beads, right?
Not at all, Debbie. And that's the beauty of this project. And, you know, when I brought my sample in this morning, Janice was like, oh my gosh, you were so bead heavy on that. And I said,
was I like that? Really?
Maybe. No, maybe not like that. You said, oh my goodness, you were so bead heavy on that. Gracious. What an interesting design. Good times. And I said, well, that was kind of my interpretation. So the beauty, I think, of this project, Debbie, just like you pointed out, there's not a lot of rhyme or reason to it. So see
May I interject?
You may.
I love how you've just taken a random mix of beads that we might not put together normally, like this pretty silver-lined lavender, and then also the matte,
that
the black, the black with the coating on it and matted. They over here they go, oh, what's going on? But when you put it all together on the wax linen, it speaks as one.
Yeah, it starts to say, exactly. And, you know, I always mention to students, especially in my stringing classes, you have to trust this, your palette, your bead palette. And if you trust that you've made good choices here, it's going to translate well onto your strung piece. So trust that your eye is good here, and that it'll translate well to your piece.
Right.
Katie's asking, would 3-ply wax linen work on these bracelets?
Yes,
Sure.
it will. You might find that some of the beads, Judy, the holes are a little bigger and they slide over the knots. But I wouldn't even worry about that. Yeah.
So you could double knot this way.
You could double knot, yep.
And make that knot a little fatter like I'm doing here.
You could also put a smaller bead right by the knot. You could say
so
that.
it wouldn't jump over.
But even that, they're not going to move that much.
So you see, I can just keep going down until finally, this one I was also a little bit bead heavy with, but you can see here how I have just kind of interspersed all of my little things here, and I've got some bare strands here. I could just knot them together or whatever. So this the Odyssey project does call for one tube, and you wrap the piece around several times. This piece here, the way that I was envisioning it, it could just be a single. I could also bring my beads just to here, maybe tie some knots here, so the double wrap would be beaded and then not beaded, you know? So again, like Janice was saying, your eye doesn't really differentiate which strand is which.
No.
And then we just put our button on the end.
2 questions. June asks, what happens if it gets wet? And Nancy asks, she has unwashed linen thread that she uses for quilting. Could she wax it and use it, or should it be unwaxed?
Yeah, I think, Judy, I know that linen thread of which you speak, and I think that linen thread just waxed with beeswax would work just fine. I think it would work fine. I think that the wax on it helps it wear better, right? And so what would you say about getting it wet, Janice?
I would.
Yeah, that's what I'd say too.
The beeswax, I think, will turn sort of white.
Yeah.
It'll give the thread.
And the linen may shrink a bit
or
if
stretch,
it gets wet, or stretch.
Or
it's hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say. But if you can avoid water, I would avoid it as much as possible with the wax, the beeswax on it.
So let's take a look now, Janice, at what you're going to play around with this.
So this is what you were working on while I was in Virginia.
Yes.
And it's a really lovely. This is our kit, right?
Right.
This
it is our
we have a
Desert
kit,
Sunset.
and we've used. I selected this really pretty purple.
Really vibrant.
Yeah, because I thought these cubes have some purple tones in them, and when it moves, it reflects in it. So what Kate has done here, and if I can just get the tweezers,
They're on the tray.
Okay. Oh, thanks. Okay, so what Kate did here is she made her loop and then just extended the macrame knots down a bit, and then these ends we're going to deal with in a few minutes. And then she started each one of her strands, and Katie is a little bead heavy, granted, so she doesn't have that many beads left, and so how are we going to make this so that it's the thought that I had to how to extend this, because we want to make it a multiple wrap to go around twice, is I thought, well, what about actually macrameing? This would be a little different. What if we macrame some of this nice grape fine weight Ceylon right onto the cords? So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to clip this down.
You need a clip?
I could use a clip.
There you go. I've got a clip.
Thank you.
I've got a clip for you.
Okay, before I tie it down, because I don't want it to be, like really awkward, I'm going to put in a few knots.
And the thing that those little macrame sections, you guys, are going to act like little beads on their own,
Right.
So it'll kind of, again, you won't go, oh my gosh, there's a little macrame portion. It'll just look like, oh, look at that, design consideration. It's pretty cool.
Right. So I'm just going to add.
Now, you don't tighten those knots. They're pretty tight, but I found that I really wanted to yank on those knots to be super tight, but it actually gives the knot a little more shape when you don't yank on it so much. I was noticing there.
Just, and if I want, I'll pinch it like that.
We have 2 more questions.
Sure.
Robin is asking, the linen thread from Bead Shop, is it Crawford's Threads Limited, and would she need to wax it? And now we just got another question, so 2 more. What size are the cubes? Are they 3 millimeters? And are there any beads you shouldn't use since it is a bracelet?
Okay, so let's start first. It is Crawford, and it is waxed. So I'm not sure
You wouldn't need to re-wax it unless
No.
you felt like you
No.
needed more.
Okay, so does that answer the question about it being Crawford?
Mm-hmm.
So here is, if you want to get in close to this, Grace, this is what it looks like. And on the side of it, it'll say 4 cords or 3 cords. It comes like this. We sell it on spools of 100. It ends up being it's 50 grams. It ends up being about 100 yards. So it's a lot of wax linen. We sell it that way, and then we also sell it in these little baskets of 10 yards. And we sometimes get a question like, well, why are the 10-yard baskets so expensive? And it's the answer is because we have to hand spool it. That's the only reason it's so expensive. So I'm going to just come in here, and I am going to, because we're a little bit shy of how many beads we'd like to have, I'm going to just do a little macrame station on this and then on a few others.
And so for these cubes, the question about the size.
What size? Is there the 3 millimeter?
They're the 3 mil.
Yeah, there's a couple of mixes that we have that include some 4 millimeter, but they are basically the 3 millimeter.
And I think
they're
for
Miyuki.
And I think for beads that maybe wouldn't work, I think beads that have pretty big holes that pop over your knots, that's something you want to look at. But as Janice mentioned earlier, you could use a bead that has a small hole like this little shadow or an 8-aught or a 6-aught or something, and you could use those on the ends of your beaded units, so it would keep the other beads from popping out over the knots.
Okay, so I'm talking about doing, I don't know, when we're all done with this, maybe there might be 10 of these little macrame stations.
That looks like a nice length.
Yeah, that's a nice length. I'm going to just, because it's the Ceylon, I'm going to just put a little tiny drop, and we should be able to just go back in later and just cut those threads.
And that's how, you guys, we would finish underneath our button loop as well when we're doing our macrame above. Here, I can put it on, Janice. When we're doing our macrame above, that's how we would finish that off as well.
I like the flush cutters for this. I'm going to just come in and cut close. And
so it's nice and flush.
Yeah, I love the Zurons for cutting the wax linen.
Yeah, it's really nice. But those guys
and
are
then
nice.
I'm just gonna
give it a little,
just
love.
a little love. And then what I'll do is I'm going to, or you, when you work on it, we can also add some of these macrame stations up here all the way along. We've got some extra beads. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just do a couple more now so that we can see how this looks.
So while you're doing that, Janice, I'm actually going to teach them an alternative knot.
Oh yeah.
Right? So
great.
Why don't you get that?
Okay.
Oh, and question,
we have
Gracie?
a few more questions.
Yeah.
Julie says, I guess burning off the Ceylon doesn't work when using Irish linen.
You could use your thread burner, but it's kind of like walking on the wild side, I think.
Well, the linen doesn't really burn that well because it's not a nylon thread. You could burn your Ceylon, but then you don't want to try and get anywhere near the wax linen.
Okay.
So,
I'll go here. We're going to rearrange a little bit, you guys, so you can see what, while Janice is getting that prepared.
So, a few other
yeah, sure.
questions. Robin's now asking that she has a hard time putting the lid back on the glue. Is there a trick for that?
Oh, Robin, you and me both. You know, really strong glasses and really good light, I'll be honest. One of the tricks, though, that Brittany does, that Janice, you shared with me, is that she has one of those little white makeup sponges, and she just shoves the tip into the white makeup sponge.
and doesn't even try to get the tip back on.
the tip back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another way of doing it is
I kind of guide it with my finger.
You hold the needle
So
tip
here's
against,
this.
right.
And I just get it, and I
It's
can
by
kind of
feel.
and I do it that way. and then I get glue on my finger that I wash off later.
And the
But-
last thing
Mhm.
was that Stacy loved Janice's leather bracelet. Do you want to tell us?
Oh, yes.
bracelet
Which
is?
project is that, Janice?
This is Prairie.
Yeah.
This is Prairie.
We're going to be doing Prairie. We're going to be doing Prairie.
Yes.
But
and
These
you
are
know
all
what?
components that we have here.
Jen,
it is
could
great,
you-
isn't it?
Do we have any
Look at
of
this
the
clasp.
natural strap
Oh, and
leather
Drea
up there?
just
I'd like to show them how it changes
posted the
color.
link.
Oh, great. Thanks, Drea, for
The
posting
five.
the link.
It's called
Yeah.
Trail Ride.
Yeah, Trail Ride is this one. Look at that clasp. It's just...
It's so fun.
So
That's the
delicious.
Book of Kells.
And you wear this every day.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So
It
this-
started.
this is how it starts, and we talked about the linen changing.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't even getting it wet. This is just the aging.
The aging of the leather.
Yeah.
So it starts with this natural and ages to this beautiful patina.
Isn't that pretty?
Yeah, it's
Thank
really
you
nice.
for noticing. I love this. I just love this. It's so simple
It is.
and
I'll-
comfortable.
I'll put
You're
that
gonna
back
put
on
that
you.
back on?
There we
Okay.
go. Look, we're nodding and putting the bracelet back on. It's like a clown car here at beadshop.com. Alrighty. So let me show you guys while Janice is working on that. This is another, if we're talking about going back to our roots, this knot is something that also really takes us back to our roots here at beadshop.com. This is a piece, and you can see, I don't know, Gracie, if you can kind of pull the camera out a little bit more so people can see. This is a necklace that I made probably in '92, probably the first year I was beading. And these were all objects that we used to carry at our brick and mortar store. And this is done with cotton. And we do carry cotton cord on our website. This is the 1mm. We also have it in different sizes. And so this cotton cord I love to make necklaces with. And so this is just like our discs. This is a red jasper disc. And you can see here this wrapping. This is with leather, and this is with the nylon cord. This is a knot called the silk wrap. Now the silk wrap is one of the very first things I learned how to do when the bead shop was a brick and mortar store. Yeah. And we had an instructor there, our class director there. Her name was Mia. Before I took over classes with a passion.
Yes.
But Mia was
wonderful.
She was
designer.
wonderful, and she was a great designer, and she was also a sailor. She would sail her sailboat, and so this silk wrap was a sailor's knot. It's when you lash two pieces of rope together, you use this knot. And so I want to share with you, it's under our skill builders. If you go to our skill builders, it shows you how to silk wrap. But I wanted to show you, not only is it great, see how the cord that I did, the cord comes up, it comes around, and then I've silk wrapped it closed rather than using a clasp or a clamp or a piece of wire. I've just used the silk wrap. And then the ends, I've finished here with a Chinese button knot, which I'll show you guys how to do someday. I think you guys would love to learn how to do this. And then I silk wrapped it. I just went through some beads here and silk wrapped that down. Just like Janice is doing with that macrame section, see how I've come in and used that silk wrap just as a little decorative knot there? And then I've brought the strands together also using a silk wrap. And I've used, this is 1mm leather, and this necklace is over 20 years old and it's still in really, really good shape. You can see it's silk wrapped there to hold this ring on. And also these bells here, you can see it's silk wrapped there. And then I've silk wrapped up against this disc to kind of hold things together. So it's a really very versatile and I think very important knot to have in your arsenal. So you can see I just did these the other day with some 1mm, and then I did it here with seal-on, and it's also a great way to add a button to your cords and clasp. So the way that we would teach it at the bead shop was we'd use a toilet paper roll. So I don't know, Gracie, if you can see that here well
That's
enough.
A big toilet paper
Not a toilet
roll.
paper roll, a paper towel roll. Whatever. It's a big roll of toilet paper, you know, or a paper towel, whatever you've got.
As we get older.
As we get older, we need more rolls.
We need a bigger roll.
A bigger roll.
Way bigger.
So the cord I'm using, that's true. The cord I'm using is a 3mm cotton cord. Okay, and so let's pretend that this, not toilet paper, paper towel rolls, what it is. This is our cord or whatever we would be silk wrapping around. So you have a long cord and a short cord. And so if I'm using regular cord, I would go about 1/4 to maybe 3/4 would be the ratio here. And I'd lay that cord along the base cord that it's going to be wrapped over. And my loop is pointing down or away from me. And I've got the long cord on top here. Okay? So I just come and I grab it and I use my thumb to stabilize everything. And I just start to wrap. And I'm going to move my thumb so you can see what's happening. I'm right-handed, so I'm wrapping with my right hand and pushing this all down with my left thumb. So see how the cord, that long cord here, has just come around. It's made a right turn, and I'm just wrapping it around. And I just lay those wraps one against the other. Now sometimes students tell me, well, Kate, my silk wrap is a little lumpy. It's not looking quite how it should. The thing you want to remember, you guys, is that this loop here, you don't want it twisted like this. You really want everything lined up. That's going to make your silk wrap nice and even. So I'm going to come in one below the other. If you've got a little bit of space, just tighten it up with your fingers, but one below the other. And you want to give yourself a good amount of wrap, because what happens next is kind of magic. Okay, so I've come in. Now you can see here's my loop. Now what's going to happen is, see the end of my cord, I'm just going to keep going in the same direction that I was wrapping, but I'm going to pass it through my loop. Another reason that your silk wrap might look lumpy is if you bring the loop through from the back like this. That's incorrect. You want it just to continue on your path. So I slide that in. Now remember our other tail that was up there? I'm just going to pull that in and see how this loop is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and see how it tightens up? Now what I do is I get my thumb kind of near where that loop is, and I pull it underneath my wrapping. Can you see that? So the knot that I've created is living under this wrap. Now to tighten everything, I get the two ends and I give it a tug, and then I make everything to kind of come in so it's nice and even. And then if this were a real project, I would come in and clip there and clip there, and the knot is secured under the silk wrap. Now in our instructions that we have online, it shows, and I'm going to pull this out so you can see it, you can add just a tiny dot of glue there if you're nervous about it, and then as you pull it in, that glue is going to just live underneath and you tighten it here. I'll be honest, I never glue my silk wraps, ever. I just let them sit underneath, and you clip it there and there, and that's it. And so what you get is this really nice, nice closure. So I think silk wrapping is a real essential. I mean, it's a good companion, I think, to the macrame knot, which is nice. So silk wrapping, you guys, use it early, use it often. It's a great way to finish off. How are you doing here, JP?
I got a few done.
A few done?
Yeah, I think that what we want to do is we want to
show putting that button on?
Yeah. But so I want to show everybody, I've been letting this dry.
Okay.
I just want to cut it to get it short, but I would cut that even more so that it's closer.
Nice,
but I want to show how...
And Tracy, did we have a question?
We do. We have a few questions.
Okay, let's answer those questions.
Is hypo cement your glue when using thread? What glue do you use with the silk wrap when you're doing your knotting? She has a hard time with some glues, and it makes the thread brittle.
Yeah, that is something that I have found as well, which is why I like the hypo cement. It's firm, but it doesn't make your thread. It's not like super glue. You know, if you use super glue, it kind of runs down your thread and it makes everything super tight or super stiff. So hypo tube is my go-to.
And then our friend Julie suggests to all of our subscribers that if you're on YouTube and you have a smart TV, she has a 55-inch TV, and it's really helpful having our broadcast so live,
so
so
you
large.
can watch it later on your smart TV.
Oh,
So
like your
we're
Apple
larger than
TV.
life. That's
Apple
a great
TV.
idea, Julie.
Well, I'm always so grateful anyone is watching.
Yeah, we are too. Yeah, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Julie loves the colors.
Oh, thanks, Julie.
And Geeta really liked the silk wrapping demo because it's easy to follow.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
And we've got some hellos from
Oh, great.
friends in Canada.
Oh, hello, Canada. Our neighbors to the north. Thank you. Great. So Janice is about ready to put that
Right.
to put that button on. So let's.
So the first
Let's do
thing, so I think this could definitely benefit from more of these cute little
Yeah, the little.
embellished knots.
Look at how nice that is.
And I
Oh.
still haven't used all the beads, but I want to just show that by the time you
I'm gonna
actually
move it actually. Just.
wrap it around again like this,
Mm-hmm.
you don't even know.
Look how pretty that looks.
Yeah, I mean, I think this needs more in here.
Pardon me.
But even still, if you ran out of beads and you wanted to make it intentional, you could put all of these into a knot down here, which would really basically be saying, this is a design decision I made. But let me just go back a second. I want to get all of these threads. You have a total of 10 because you used 5 cords. And sometimes when they're bushy like this, it's hard to get them all through at once. So what I do is, let me get the Zurons because they work really great. I'm just going to angle cut them like this.
That's really, and see how Janice pulled everything together, and look it's just a needle ready
Right.
to work.
Right, and then, did we talk at the beginning how you have to check that all your threads will go through?
No, it discusses that in the handout, but that is something that you do want to double check to make sure, because buttons have different size shanks.
Right. So let's say you forget,
Mm-hmm.
and you're near the end and you go, holy moly, they won't all go through the button. What I would do before you panic is I would go back and I would go, okay, I can knot a couple of them together,
Right,
and then drop a thread.
Mm-hmm.
And so that you get through the button shank what you can. And if you can't get them all through, you just drop some as you go.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And you dropping them meaning you would knot them off.
I would
glue
not,
them.
right. So I'll just do it like with this. Let's say I have these 2 ends. So I would knot the 2 together.
Just in that overhand knot like we've been using.
Right. And then only one of them would go up into the button, and the other one I would literally
Clip away
clip away.
after it's glued.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Easy
I don't
peasy.
even know that you need to glue it. The
Probably
wax.
not. The wax
The
would
wax
hold it.
is so
true
yeah.
enough.
So now, so I think that
Yeah.
that's a good little help. So now what I'm going to do is, I have all of the threads through the back of the button, and all I'm going to do is I'm taking them one at a time. I'm pulling on the button loop with one hand, and with the other I'm actually going to take each thread and I'm going to make sure that they're all the same
Right.
length. I
And-
don't like really loose ones.
And Janice, what length is this bracelet?
This is about a 15.
Okay, so
from
it's
the
going to wrap
loop
around twice.
Twice, right. So it wraps around twice. And you could, come back later and do, you could separate out 2. You can add more beads,
Right, but
really.
we could add more macrame or other
Right.
things.
If you wanted to, you want to add another thread, you could bring another thread through one of these beads, knot it on, put some beads on, go a distance.
And then knot it off.
It's so forgiving. So now we've got the button shank is up through there, and then now we're going to, this is a lot of threads. This is maybe a good example of where we could have dropped some of these and gone up through the top. But now what I'm going to do is a silk wrap. So
on the directions we show how to macrame it closed, just like we did at the beginning.
Right.
But it's a cool way, I think, to incorporate the silk wrap, just to get you another technique on this.
Right. So I want to get the little cotton. Let me get a piece of cotton, and because you really do need to secure it. At least I need to secure it.
No,
I can't silk wrap without it. And I'm just going to bring it a little closer to me. And I'm going to turn it over because I like to see the back.
Rosemary mentioned, Janice, she said, details to the work makes the piece.
It's true.
And it is really true, Rosemary. You know, it's really something that, you know, every time we design, if you think ahead to all the little details and all the finishing details, it really makes a difference in the quality of your piece. So love back to you and New Year's greetings back to you as well. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to take the grape Ceylon, and it is fine weight. It's not, and this is what's all going to get silk wrapped together. And look at how nice that wax linen.
Yeah, it just pinches together.
Pinches it all together. And then now I'm doing it with a much smaller cord than what Kate did, but I always start with the long. So let me show you a little loop here. I have the long cord. The long cord is on top. The short cord is on the bottom, and my loop is going this way.
Towards the work.
Right. And this is I'm not going to do a loop that long. So this loop only really needs to be as long as you want to wrap. So you don't have to have a humongous loop. So I'm going to, it takes just a second to get it lined up, and I'm going to pinch where I want it, and then I'm going to start wrapping. And I can't really do this any other way than this, and I'm going to continue. Now I can change hands.
And Janice is wrapping down towards the loop.
I'm wrapping towards the beads. I don't know if anyone can even see me doing it.
It looks good, Janice.
Okay. Let me.
I'm going to be your other pair of hands right here and just hold that out of the way.
I want to just make sure I have my end. Wait, I have to start again because the end got too short. Let me, thanks for being those extra set of hands. So here I go. I'm going to do it again. The long end wraps over the short end. And I pinch and wrap.
Oh, thank you. Mary Ellen says, Janice, she wants to thank both of us for these wonderful videos. I look forward to Wednesdays every week. You both have a magical way of teaching. Oh, thank you,
That's so nice to hear. Where are you, Mary Ellen?
Yes, we'd like to know.
We'd love to know where you are.
And Melanie says she used to rush finishing her pieces, but now she's learned to take her time and pay attention to detail. Yeah, you know, and it's like when I talk to my students about, you know, students always say, oh, Kate, do I have to file this metal? Do I have to finish this off? And, you know, these are the little moments, I think, when you're designing that are like your Zen moments.
Right.
You know, that you just kind of, I call it communing with the piece. You sit there and you kind of think about, all right, is this finishing off, you know, do I like this? So you just take a few Zen moments. Oh, Mary Ellen's from New York. Thanks, Mary Ellen.
I loved living in New York. That was...
there we go. Look at how nice that's wrapping.
Right. Oh, thank you. Not right. Thank you.
Yes, well, you're welcome.
Okay, so this I'm just going to, when I'm done, there you go. So it's like that. And
Look
then,
how clean that is.
yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Here's my loop.
Now,
so
this
I want to
thing,
come
you
through.
Guys, yeah, you want to make sure you're coming in through for the right direction.
Right. It comes through.
That fussy little ceiling.
I know. So that's there, and I let go of that, and now I'm going to come back here and see it slide in.
And then you just pop that little
Let's get it to it has to travel. So there it's.
There it goes.
And sometimes it comes out. See how it came out? Came out that end. No biggie. No biggie.
Slide it back the other way.
Just go back in, and you'll see it. It's sort of like a. I want to say a snake under a rug.
Right, that's a
But
good
it
one.
is. It's sort of like, and then I
can
just
see how Janice
pull
is
it nice
pulling
and tight. I know I can see it right there in the middle, and then there I go.
And so
Just-
Priscilla's question, Janice, is I don't mean to be doing
No,
your
that's
job,
okay.
Gracie. It's just I can see these questions and it's exciting. Any amount of distance you should silk wrap? She's asking 1 inch or less, or what do you
An
reckon?
inch is really pretty long, and it's a lot for a beginner. I would say about half an inch. You want it long enough so that there's
It's secure.
more than enough room for the knot to live in the middle. So,
Yeah, and Carrie, no glue for the silk wrap.
Yeah.
You can add a little glue as you pull it underneath, but I'm not a gluer.
right.
Really. And Jennifer, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for watching. You are an amazing stringer, Jennifer Hunt. I know her from my JTV appearances, and she's a really, really great artist and stringer.
So now what I'm doing with these ends is I'm just making a kind of a fun tassel. And you could go as wild or as crazy. Just want to make sure they're not all exactly the same length. You know, that they're going to, let me move these out of the way so you can see.
Yeah, it looks nice.
And then they're just going to, the tassel will live on that end. I think the only thing we didn't show, Kate, was when we started, how we knot these ends at the other end where you macrameed.
Yeah, let's show that. I'd like to.
Okay.
I'd actually like to see that.
Okay, so on, let me get all this out of the way. So first, let's just say, I'm going to pull off this, and I just want to show first, and then I'm going to pretend that we
That we've done
knotted
our
all
little
these and they're
ends.
all done.
Right.
I'm just going to cut them
give
a
it
bit.
a haircut.
Give it a haircut. And then I just want to show how it's all going to come together like this, and it's really pretty, and that purple, that grapey color just adds so much.
Yeah, it adds a real spark. to it.
Yeah, adds a spark, and you don't know, well, which strand has beads on it and which don't, so you don't have to worry. And then all we have at this end is we've got, there's no real magic to this. You just want to make sure that you're securing it. So what I would do, I've got 2 on each side like this, and I think what I would do is I would tie this into a square knot, right over left and left over right. And this does need glue. You can't.
You glue it there.
And don't wait to glue it till like next year. Do it when you're
You
done.
don't want it to unfurl.
Yeah. And if you used a bead, oh sorry Kate,
No, I
if
was
you
gonna
had
say.
used a bead here, you would be shorter than this. So you want to bring that back,
Yeah, I'm gonna
the
grab
one
this
that has the beads on it, which I think looks really really good. But
we go.
if this is what you have, this is what you have. It's going to look great anyway. So then let me get this other thread and then do.
Oh,
right
Debbie says, this is a nice thing, Janice. You'll like to hear this. Love those Zen moments. Your shop and videos have made recovering from a serious illness much easier. You've become my beading friends since I can't get to my favorite local shops.
Oh, that's so good to hear, and we love to hear that they're bead shops, local bead shops that you can support. And I know that they're going to really be happy once you're well enough to get out and.
And Janice,
Get
Pamela's asking what cord you use to tie it to the tray, and I'm going to just say this is just like kitchen twine. Is
Yeah,
that right?
my kitchen twine, my ball, my 69-cent ball of kitchen twine that I just I swear by.
Yeah, that's
So.
we have it.
So
So
this
great.
is then going to get cut, and I would prefer if everyone waits until it's really dry. If you wanted to use your thread burner, if you have one, you can on these ends. Just make sure you don't get anywhere near the wax linen. That I'll go back when it's really much drier, and I'll cut these closer.
And once the thread, the glue dries, it makes the thread just slightly stiff.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little easier to clip.
Yes, it does. And then we can still go back in. These are long enough that we can add these leftover beads here.
For a nice little tassel.
Yeah, and I can go back in and even macrame more of the little purple grape sections.
Yeah, it'll be real
But
pretty.
you have a lovely bracelet here.
Yeah, it's real pretty. It was a fun one to put together.
Yeah.
It's a fun one to palette. I just wanted to share, Gracie, I'm going to trade places with you as we start to wrap things up. But I wanted to show you guys how, you know, different designs or different ideas are completely adaptable to kind of mixing your different projects together. So as you'll remember, this was the piece that I did from last week. And so I think something like this, if we just look at this little sample that I was making, take a look at what a great tassel this makes. And if my mom is watching, my mom knows how much I love to make tassels and love tassels. But if I just sheared this off right here, what a great decorative, beautiful decorative tassel this would make. You could also make them shorter. That would make an amazing earring.
So would you make this long enough to
I
go
would, yeah. So I would have, let's pretend that this is all the right color. And I think I know which wax linen I'm going to use already. It's in my head, the one that's going to match that cranberry, I think. But see how I would macrame, you guys, and then I'd make it long enough so it came around, and obviously it would be in a color that matched. But then I could bring it under here. I could bring it, that bead underneath, and then I could tassel away here, and it would really add, I think, a lot to this piece.
Yeah.
So you might see a tassel on this next week. The ever-evolving necklace. You never know.
It's beautiful.
But it's
It
a
really
great
is.
way to mix. So when you look at our projects, start trying to think outside of the box. 2017, thinking outside of the box, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great idea. Great idea.
Any final thoughts, Grace, that you've got? Questions from people?
Drea says she wears her Odyssey as a necklace more often than a bracelet, and she always gets compliments.
Oh.
And your mom says she loves tassels.
Yes, it's true. I love
And
tassels.
A lot of compliments on the colors that were chosen for the bracelet, and Melanie's also recovering from a back surgery, and so she loves joining online from Canada.
Oh, great. Well, we love our little beading community we've made here. So Janice, this was
What's
that was the kit you guys could find. It's called what's it called? Great
Desert Sunset.
Desert Sunset. Where is this? Who are you? Who am I? Desert Sunset. And so that's a kit that you guys can get this exact. Yeah, it has everything in it, all the linen and stuff. So if you want to make one of these guys, you can find that online. But of course, Janice, it wouldn't be a Facebook Live broadcast without a giveaway, right?
Would not.
So
What's our giveaway this week?
so what we did,
What
we
are
put
you
together.
giving away while I'm away?
While you're away. I'm giving
visiting
away the
my
farm.
family in Virginia. What are you giving away?
So Jen and I, we put together this little bead mix. So you guys saw the mix that I was using on the sample. We actually have a lovely tube of that bead mix that includes the hishi and the little shadows. And we also have a nice basket of the linen.
Olive.
Yeah, the
I
olive
love
linen.
olive's my favorite
I love it.
color.
So all you need to do is add a button or add some, a bead or whatever it is you want to do to round this out. But this is our giveaway here. And as always, just to explain about the giveaways, in case you're new, when you go and you place an order at beadshop.com after this broadcast, you put in the shopping notes, we've got 10 to give away, and in your shopping notes, after you've made an order, if you write, I want my cubes. I want my cubes, Janice.
I know you do.
It's true.
But it's for today.
It's for today.
December 28th.
Yeah,
So
today.
if you watch this next year
Yeah.
and you write in your shopping notes, I want my cubes.
No. Wah, wah. But if you watch us on Wednesdays live every
Yes.
Wednesday, we've got all kinds of free stuff for you.
Yes.
So that's this. And just so you guys know, we do have our special going on until the end of the year,
Right.
through our New Year. So you do get 25% off store-wide. That code is new25, but it's also on our website. You can find it there. We've got a whole bunch of new stuff, as we said, coming up for 2017.
Right.
So if you guys aren't on our newsletter, we do a lot of subscriber specials.
There's a big one coming up this weekend.
A big one.
Humongous.
So after you do all of this, go and sign up for the
Sign
newsletter,
up for
you
the
guys,
newsletter.
because you're going to want it. We also had a couple of thank yous for our giveaway that we had this week. Our Vintage Finds giveaway that we did. It was a special Saturday newsletter, and our newsletter subscribers got to choose a vintage find of their choice.
Yes.
And we added it to their order. So our
But
newsletters.
that was only through the newsletter.
Only
Yes.
through the newsletter. So your
Yeah.
newsletter, you guys, we try and make them entertaining and pretty and
Educational.
So
Yes.
so that's it. Well, I think the last broadcast of the year, Janice, was a good one. I hope you guys thought so too. We're going to start
I
next.
enjoyed today.
I did
It was
too.
a lot of fun. Thank you for making all of this possible.
Oh,
and
right
thank
back
you
at you.
everyone out there
Yes.
for watching.
yeah. Next
Yeah.
week we're going to start the new year off with some knotting, some malas.
Malas,
to
yes,
start the year off
intentions.
right. Yeah.
Yes.
And we're going to do a little bit of wire, a little bit of knotting. It's going to be cool.
Tassels.
Tassels.
Yeah.
Really
Yes.
quick.
Mhm.
Robin says she doesn't see a gray wax linen. I think she wants the olive drab.
Oh yeah,
Olive
it's
drab.
olive drab, Robin. That's the color you're seeing here. It looks a little gray, but it's actually a little greeny.
And then the other color we showed was the denim, which looks sort of gray, but
Right, it's that one there.
This one here.
yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Well,
Good times.
good times. Happy 2017. Happy 2017.
Yeah.
We'll see you
Have a
guys
safe year.
Yes.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
Yes.
We'll see you next week.
Okay.
10:30.
I know. 2017.
Here we come.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, you
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye.